I stand here tonight having served as long as about any one of you have ever served here. But I've never been more optimistic about our future, about the future of America. We just have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. Welcome to day 750. Joe Biden's State of the Union address to Congress highlighted his accomplishments when it comes to job growth, infrastructure, climate, drug price cuts for seniors, and consumer protections during his first 2 years in office. It was his first State of the Union in front of a divided Congress, and Biden challenged the new House Republican majority to work with him, repeatedly saying, "Let's finish the job," while calling on lawmakers to pass policing reform, immigration legislation, to codify abortion rights, and to cap the price of insulin. Republicans, however, heckled Biden over drugs entering the country and claiming that he accused them of threatening Social Security and Medicare. Biden was also met with boos after he pointed out that 25% of the U.S. national debt was added under Trump's tenure. He replied, "They're the facts, check it out."
Under the previous administration, the American deficit went up 4 years in a row. Because those record deficits, no president added more to the national debt in any 4 years than my predecessor. Nearly 25% of the entire national debt that took over 200 years to accumulate was added by just one administration alone, the last one. They're the facts. Check it out. Check it out.
Hakeem Jeffries suggested that Republicans who heckled Biden during his State of the Union address are unfit to serve in Congress. During his speech, Biden accused Republicans of holding the economy hostage over the debt ceiling while pushing to end entitlement programs. Biden said instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. Marjorie Taylor Greene interrupted and began calling Biden a liar from the back row over the reference to Rick Scott's plan that all federal legislation sunset in 5 years.
Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. No, I tell you, I enjoy conversion. You know, it means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I don't even think it's even a significant, but it's being proposed by individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you. Look, folks.
Medicare and Social Security were created through federal legislation and would seemingly need to be reauthorized every 5 years under the plan. Following Biden's speech, Jeffries tweeted, "President Biden delivered a compelling speech outlining a vision to make life better for everyday Americans, and his dignity presented a stark contrast with the right-wing extremists who are unfit to serve." Meanwhile, Mitt Romney told George Santos, "You don't belong here," before Biden's State of the Union address. Romney said he criticized Santos for trying to shake hands given the fact that he's under ethics investigation, adding he should be sitting in the back row and staying quiet instead of parading in front of the president and people coming into the room. Santos is facing multiple investigations over his campaign finances and his repeated lies about his resume and biography. Santos, meanwhile, said Romney's comments were reprehensible and that it wasn't very Mormon of him. Moving on, the Labor Department's internal watchdog identified at least $191 billion in misspent pandemic unemployment benefits. The new estimate is roughly $30 billion more than the $163 billion that the government had identified last year. Federal officials, however, said they can't accurately compute the total amount of federal pandemic aid subject to fraud and abuse. And finally, the U.S. intelligence community said China's spy balloon was part of a global surveillance program designed to collect information about the military capabilities of countries around the world. The Pentagon said that in recent years, Chinese surveillance balloons have been spotted over Latin America, South America, Southeast Asia, East Asia, and Europe, collecting information on military assets of emerging strategic interest to China. Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, said the State Department has shared this information with dozens of countries, adding, "We're doing so because the United States was not the only target of this broader program, which has violated the sovereignty of countries across 5 continents." And in the polls, Gallup says 35% of Americans believe they are better off now than they were a year ago, while 50% say they're worse off. The only other time since 1976 that half or more of Americans said they were worse off was during the Great Recession in 2008 and 2009. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefuckjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Anditas.